pitting up here, you know, and it's safer, and that's my main concern. We didn't want the guys to get hurt till they get a pit wall up here. We'll be up here.
Up here is the middle of pit road, as opposed to all the way down near turn 1, where Earnhardt is pitting. Before this race, Dale Inman told me the same thing. He said it's almost impossible to beat Earnhardt out of the pits when you're pitted all the way up here, but it is a better place to pit in terms of safety.
Well, you're right about that. Barry Dodson's exactly right. In fact, he's taken the pit that I would always have chosen when I was a crew chief. That is the safest pit. You can get into your pit a lot better, but you do stand a chance of getting beat out of the pit by somebody down in the high-risk area where Dale Earnhardt is.
Well, Gary, you know, that safety issue is an interesting one because Bob and Ned and Jerry Punch and I both did a modified race here yesterday. There was a major crash at the beginning of the race, and cars after the crash skidded into that pit area down there where the Labonte and the Earnhardt crews are. So that is a significant issue.
And we might mention that the winner of that modified race was the veteran Al Hill, who held off some of the younger drivers, Jay Hedgecock and Frank Fleming. That race will be on later. Watch your local listings for that Lowe's 150 NASCAR modified race that was held here at North Wilkesboro yesterday. Car number 44 and car number 33 are battling for position once again. That is for 6th. Richard Petty and Harry Gant. Petty has the inside line and maybe the advantage here as Harry swings way wide coming out of corner number 4. So Richard Petty moves to 6th.
You know, Richard Petty, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Kyle Petty have all been laying back a little bit. They're all in the lead lap still and still contenders. You don't see them up there racing for the lead. They kind of have been keeping a little bit of a space around them for the later stages in the race.
But as the leaders lap more cars, that puts them in a better position, especially when a caution flag comes out. They're not losing that much ground on the racetrack, but yet they move every time a caution comes out. Another car or two has been lapped. Now we have only 9 cars in the lead lap, and that moves them a little closer up to the front after they've made pit stops, puts them in a better position to go for the win.
It's like Harry Gant is dropping back just a little bit because he was racing with Petty a few laps ago, and now there have been 3 cars, make that 2 cars, that have been able to pass Harry and position themselves between Petty and Harry Gant. So we'll watch to see if there might be a problem with the Harry Gant car. And here is the number 15 car, the Bud Moore-owned Crisco Ford, driven by Brett Bodine, that Richard Petty will be trying to pass next.
His last short track win came here at North Wilkesboro, and that was in 1981 in this race, the first Union Bank 400.
You know, I remember that win when Richard won here in North Wilkesboro, but since then he's run so good that you're surprised he hasn't won since then.
Go back to the lead meanwhile and find that the first 5 cars are actually running right together on the racetrack, or separated by only a few car lengths. Rusty Wallace is in 3rd in number 27. Then Ricky Rudd in the all-green car, and right behind Rudd is the car running in 5th position, driven by Kyle Petty. And a little bit of smoke there from the Rusty Wallace car, but I don't think it indicates any problem.
I don't believe so, Bob. You wonder if these guys, we've seen Ricky Rudd, he's been right up there in the top 5 all afternoon long. Of course, Rusty Wallace has been in 3rd place most of the time, and Kyle Petty has been up in 5th place. Now, they're closest to the leaders that they have been in quite a while, but you wonder, are they going to just sit there and sort of ride for a while, or will they going up there and try to make a move right now? Gary, what, from a crew chief standpoint, do you tell your driver, okay, it's time now to charge, we're past the halfway point?
Well, you're right, Ned. You know, we've gone over halfway. There's been several cautions, more cautions than usual for North Wilkesboro. That means the guys that are most likely to cause cautions have already done that. There's a good chance we can go a long stretch here without a caution flag. You don't want to be too far back, just in case that last caution was the last one.
So, do some of those drivers have something that we haven't seen? Namely Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty and some of those guys that really have been fighting back in traffic for a long period of time, but this is the first time they've been sort of out in the clear with the leaders in sight.
Well, we'll show you some of the other cars that are out there on the racetrack, not necessarily battling for position, but at least they are still out there in competition. We're watching the end car that we have in Dale Jarrett's car. He is shown as 3 laps down in 23rd position. Right behind him, the Kodak car, driven by Rick Wilson, who is many laps off the pace because of a problem in the very early going. Rick, of course, was the pole sitter at Bristol a week ago, but was off the qualifying pace here this weekend and has not been in a competitive situation during the event. Rick Wilson qualified here this weekend, as a matter of fact, for 28th spot.
You can hear them accelerate and decelerate as they go into the turn. They'll get down, Gary, about 6,000 RPMs in the turns here, and then accelerate up to about 82 or 8,300 on the straightaways.
Yeah, that's really tough on the engines here. You can see the tach dropping as he lets off the gas. The big gauge in the middle is the tachometer, and that needle is climbing now as he goes down the straightaway. Now it's going back down as he lets off. That tells you the revolutions per minute of the engine, down to about 6,000 or so, and then he climbs up to maybe 7,500, 7,800 RPM at the end of the straightaway.
Well, Dale Jarrett is looking forward to having a new crew chief next week. Cale Yarborough hired veteran Elmo Langley this week to head up that crew. Elmo, of course, has been a driver himself for many, many years, and then a car owner for a long, long time as well. And he goes to work as crew chief on the Hardy's car number 28. Here's Darrell Waltrip slowing down, coming in for an unscheduled pit stop.
Another tough race for Darrell Waltrip. He dropped back in the middle stages of this race, or in the first quarter of the race, and now here he comes for an unscheduled stop. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Darrell Waltrip came down the pit road, almost stopped, and then went again. They wouldn't get a quick comment from Jeff Hammond as to what the problem was, as Jeff is on the radio talking to Darrell Waltrip, listening to what Darrell has to say. Darrell came in for that quick stop and moved back down pit road, and he's talking to Darrell now on the radio to try to ascertain what the problem is. So we'll get a quick comment from Jeff there as he watches Darrell come moving by in the side Chevrolet. Jeff, what's the problem? Why the pit stop?
Something in the rear end snapped right about that time. Something in the ratchet. What he said, it felt like something in the ratchet turned loose, caught back, and the car kind of broke sideways with him. He thought he had a flat tire. So he said it felt okay right now, so I'm just kind of holding our breath.
Well, they're holding their breath here in the tied pits. An unscheduled stop for Darrell Waltrip cost him a lot of time, but they're awfully concerned about the rear end of the car.
Any speculation, Gary?
Boy, that's a tough one. You know, Darrell obviously felt he had a problem, came in pit road, and then he felt like it corrected itself. Problems on a race car usually don't correct themselves. You know, mechanically, something usually breaks and it's broken. It doesn't fix itself. So we'll have to watch and see if Darrell continues to have problems later.
234 laps completed as the lead is held by the black GM Goodrich Chevrolet, driven by Dale Earnhardt. Labonte is second, Wallace is third, followed by Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty.
What you doing? Me and Daddy are putting new brake shoes on his car. But cars don't wear shoes.
Brake shoes, honey. They stop the car.
We own shoes, Guardian brake shoes, don't we, Dad?
Nothing better. I learned about Guardian from my dad.
Nobody makes brakes better than Guardian, and nobody makes it easier.
Can I have new Guardian shoes, too?
Safe stop start with Guardian brakes.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality.
We engineer quality into every drop of Quaker State motor oil.
Only Quaker State has QSX, an advanced formula proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
Before our oil's good enough for your car, we prove that it works in our car.
Quaker State quality. We don't just talk about it, we live by it.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Okay, listen up. Oakley Hill's filling in for Bob tonight. Good luck, kid.
For 3 years, Bill Oakley took orders.
Okay. Tonight we need to fit up the shell plate, weld it out. Okay.
But tonight,
All the help we can get. Are you with me?
he's got to stand up and take charge.
You got to reach inside. You got to turn the tide. You are the power, the man of the hour. You got them on your side. You make America work.
Here's to you, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all the guys who know it's not what you say, but what you do.
This Bud for you.
The Hardee's race cam inside the Dale Jarrett car shows the first and second position cars right ahead of him as they go into the third corner there. That's the black car driven by Dale Earnhardt. And behind him, Terry Labonte, first and second. And there is Richard Petty, who is running in sixth position. Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's with Dale Inman.
Well, Bob, a couple laps ago, Bobby Allison just pointed his fingers down. He said, Richard Petty, go ahead. I think everybody'd like to see him win, but nobody more than this man, Dale. And Dale, have you guys got a shot at it today?
Well, we're running pretty decent right now, but there's 5 real good cars ahead of us, and it's going to be awful tough. We're not helping him any in the pits. Our last pit stop wasn't very good, but we're still out there, and we're still running. That's some of the things we haven't done this year, but we're hanging tough with the SVP car, and I know Richard's giving all he can get, so we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out.
Well, if desire will do it, these guys surely have the desire. Another team with the desire is with Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Oh, you never know. This team is trying to win here. They're just sitting here awfully relaxed. Tim Brewer and the Budweiser team, they are very intent on what's happening. And Tim, what do you tell your young driver as far as strategy is concerned? After chasing one of the best, what do you say to him?
Jerry, it's not a lot you can't tell a guy, you know. Our stop's only 8 miles down the road. We spent a lot of afternoons up here. He knows what he can do, what he's capable of doing. You know, you get in a gunfight with Earnhardt, you sit here, you try to beat him out of the pit. You know, we'd like to come out of the pits in front of him on this last pit stop. If not, Terry will have to take it to him, you know, in the last few laps. And those two guys, they know what they're holding, you know, they'll settle that. We'll have nothing to do with it.
What did Junior Johnson say to you a few laps ago? Junior came over to you and said something, and you both laughed, and then he climbed back up on his perch. What did he say?
Just come to you.
Tim Brewer, finish.
Okay, we'll let it go at that. Well, the leaders are working through traffic once again, and the Iceman, Terry Labonte, still behind Dale Earnhardt as they pass Benny Parsons. Here is the real battle on the racetrack for third. That's Rusty Wallace in number 27, and right behind him is the 26 car driven by Ricky Rudd. And Rudd has certainly driven a nice race to this point. He's been in the top 5 just about all afternoon long. But for now, he has been able to catch Rusty Wallace, and Wallace again is hung up in the traffic. And we'll once again go inside the Dale Jarrett car and take you for a few laps around North Wilkesboro.
Let's take a look at his foot action as he goes around this 5/8 mile track. He's coming off of number 4 now, of course, wide open. Now he backs off the accelerator, hits the brakes a little bit with his left foot. Now that's something I could never do. I always use my right foot, but he learned to brake a long time ago with his left foot, and I think that's good. You can see that happening, and I think next week at North Wilkesboro will be even more important than it is here. I mean, next week at Martinsville than it is here at North Wilkesboro.
And Gary is sitting here watching the tachometer, not necessarily the footwork, but the tachometer that you can see right in front of Dale.
Well, it's very interesting. That's a very good shot there of the tach. You can see it climb as his foot goes down on the gas. He pushes the gas very easily. You can also see he bumps the pedal, the brake pedal, one time before he really stands on it. That gets the pistons out against the rotor, and that gives him a lot more solid brake pedal. That's a very good shot. You can see 4,500 RPM, 5,000, 55, 6, 65, 68, 7, up to about 7,500 on a straightaway.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. The high on the RPM there, about 7,500, and that's just about where it is.
Yeah, he's going a little slower in the turns than he would like. I think that's why he's not as competitive. Low RPM should be around 58, 5,800, maybe 6,000, but he's dropping to 4,500 in the turns.
All right, so now Bill Elliott has moved between the leader Dale Earnhardt and second place Terry Labonte. Larry?
Well, Bob and Ned and Gary, I'll tell you, I feel like I've gone back in time about 5 years. You know, all year this year we've been talking about those new young Turks. I referred to them as the beginning of the season, or beginning of this broadcast. Ken Schrader running up to the front. Mark Martin running up to the front. People whose names are not traditionally associated with winning names at Winston Cup racing. But here at North Wilkesboro today, the names that historically have been from the geographically desirable areas for stock car racing, the Carolinas and the Deep South, are leading this event. There's a Petty up front. There are two Pettys running near the front. Ricky Rudd is up there. Terry Labonte, Junior Johnson, all the names that we've become accustomed to listening to. Why, there is even a Jarrett running prominently in today's race.
Any theory on that, Ned? Is this such a racetrack that you've got to gain a lot of years of experience before you can really figure it out?
Well, yes, I think that it is one racetrack that experience certainly counts. No question about it. As Gary mentioned at the top of the show, you run downhill on the front straightaway and uphill on the back straightaway, which means that it makes it a little tough to get the car set up perfectly all the way around the racetrack. You've got to give up a little bit in one turn or the other. The same thing applies as far as driving is concerned. You have to drive here a long time before you know exactly when to brake, decelerate going into the turns, and accelerate coming off the turns. And also, it's very important for the driver to know when setting the car up how he wants it to feel halfway through the race. That's something that's very difficult for a race driver to do, is to look down the road 150 to 200 laps at what the conditions of the race, the condition of the racetrack is going to be, and how you want your car to feel at that time.
So it's Dale Earnhardt still leading in the first Union 400. Terry Labonte is still second, followed by Rusty Wallace, then Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty. Only two cars are out of the race, namely Buddy Baker and Michael Waltrip.
Star Chevrolet and Nissan and Giant Delaney Chevrolet Buick Honda Isuzu take the chainsaw to every car on our lots. In fact, if we can't beat your best deal on your new car by $1,000, the rust proofing on your new car is on us. You heard right. We'll beat your best by $1,000 or you get the rust proofing. Star, Route 30 East, Greensburg. Giant Delaney in the heart of downtown Indiana.
Marcus Communications. We're bringing more home to you.
What have we got to lose? Saturday, let this man loose in your living room, and he's liable to have you bouncing off the walls. For high-flying fun, catch The Son of Flubber on Disney. Sunday, when you've got to take care of 3 kids, a dog, and a guy named Bub, it's all you can do to keep from losing your mind. It's My 3 Sons on Nickelodeon. Son of Flubber and My 3 Sons. Lose yourself this weekend. Cable, discover our difference.
They'll fight like cats and dogs in this SEC clash. The highly ranked LSU Tigers battle last year's conference champions, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Sunday night, live on ESPN.
ESPN Speed World today at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway for the first Union 400 Winston Cup race. We have completed 264 laps, and the lead is being held by Dale Earnhardt. Running in second position is Terry Labonte, and there you can see that there are now 2 slower cars between first and second position. As Labonte in the red and white number 11 Budweiser-sponsored Chevrolet tries to close in on the leader, Earnhardt, who has hung up himself behind some relatively slower traffic. Ken Schrader in number 25 and Harry Gant in 33.
And so Schrader moves down and gives Earnhardt some running room out there. Gant made an unscheduled pit stop a little while ago, and so he is about to go 2 laps down, in my calculations.
But this battle between Schrader and Harry Gant is for position. They're both a lap down and battling for 13. Rick Wilson, by the way, there in car number 4, spun just a couple of minutes ago, but he kept the car pointed in the right direction, and there was no yellow flag.
Earnhardt got through that traffic pretty quickly. He has 4 other cars that he's coming up on as Bobby Allison makes another pit stop. Bobby having trouble here today. He'll have changed right side tires on his Miller Buick. But Earnhardt coming up on those 4 cars, and a couple of them are running side by side out on the racetrack, so it might be a little tougher to get through those than the 2 he just had.
Boy, tough day for Bobby Allison. He's in for 4 tires under green. That's cost you at least 2 laps to the leader, plus already being a couple laps down, having been involved in 2 caution periods. He's had a long day.
But you know what? We can anticipate perhaps some excellent performance from Bobby Allison in 2 weeks when we're at Talladega. Bill Elliott, Terry Labonte, Neil Bonnet, and Dale Earnhardt have all been leaders of this race, and Earnhardt has led the most and is still up front. We indicated Bobby Allison was so good at Daytona, and of course the next race that we televise here on ESPN will be in Talladega in 2 weeks, and that'll be the second opportunity for these drivers and cars to run that restrictor plate. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Let's go to Larry.
Well, Bob, you know, you were just pointing out who has led this race. Let's look at Dale Earnhardt, who is leading this competition right now. We haven't talked about him that much this year. Maybe we haven't talked about him as much as we have in 1986, 87. But I'll tell you, this is still an incredibly strong team. Coming into today's race, Dale Earnhardt had led 570 miles. The second most leading driver was Lake Speed, but leading 343 miles. There is Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace battling for position inside the top 5 in this race. And the third leading driver was Neil Bonnet at 269 miles. That gives you an idea how dominant Dale Earnhardt has been, and we haven't even talked about it.
Well, he certainly has put on a strong performance so far, but you know, so too have these drivers, and we perhaps slanted our coverage a little bit toward Rusty Wallace, but I'll tell you, Ricky Rudd is right in there, and the Kenny Bernstein-owned Larry McReynolds wrenched Quaker State Buick.
He has been running very well all race long. In fact, he thought he had a shot at the pole, Bob, and he was a victim of the circumstances. Just before he went out to qualify, he had sprinkled rain a little bit, and they put some of the quick dry on the racetrack, which slowed his efforts some, so it was really a tough break for him not to be able to have a legitimate shot at the pole. These drivers running side by side here for several laps, we've seen them now, which is pretty unusual at North Wilkesboro, but now Ricky gets pinched in behind the car 4, but he's not going to stay back there too long. That car's working well down on the inside of the racetrack.
We thought that Buddy Baker was going to pull back out onto the racetrack, but instead he just positioned the car behind the trailer, and there was a crew member driving it, so Buddy Baker will not be able to get back in the race. The attrition as Ricky Rudd goes into third position, the attrition has been just phenomenal here this afternoon. Only Michael Waltrip and Buddy Baker have dropped out of this race, and we have some cars now making pit stops as we continue to watch Ricky Rudd, who has moved that car into third, and there's Rusty Wallace, who is now fourth.
Neil Bonnet is one of those cars in the pits right now, changing left side tires on the Valvoline Pontiac. And let's go to Dick Berggren for that action.
He's not going to be here much longer, I'll guarantee you that. There goes Bonnet. He has been loose all afternoon. How he's held that car is a major miracle. It's been a real handful today. Hopefully this pit stop will help him some.
Dick, is he on Hoosier tires or Goodyears?
He's on Hoosier tires right now. He started on Goodyears, but he's on Hoosiers at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that any of the lead lap cars are on Hoosiers. It looks like all of the leaders are running Goodyears.
Neil Bonnet, 15th before he made that pit stop. Larry?
Well, Gary, among the other people who have switched to Hoosier from Goodyear, Sterling Marlin has switched to him. We had him staying on Goodyears a little earlier. Rick Wilson and Lake Speed, although they're not in it for the win, they did switch to Hoosier tires, as did Ken Bouchard. One driver who switched from Hoosiers to Goodyear. Gary, this may be the first time we've seen this year. Harry Ginn, one of only 2 drivers to qualify and start this race on the Purple Monsters, went to the Wingfoot Goodyear.
Well, here's a guy we like to watch race a whole lot. He used to be one of our colleagues on pit road here. Benny Parsons in for his pit stop. Behind him, Sterling Marlin. Oh, they just got out. You saw that the crew member almost got tagged. Very close.
Benny Parsons was shown 2 laps down in 17th before he made that pit stop. So Benny is certainly not in the contention to win this race, but we look forward to the day where he can be as competitive as he was earlier this year in Atlanta, and he has pulled out right ahead of the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Now, with new tires on, it'll be interesting to see if they move around him, because he only has right side tires, but boy, that can really help you on this racetrack.
And we go back down and take a replay of the Benny Parsons pit stop, and here's how close it was.
Okay, there's Benny. He's finished, and Sterling Marlins comes out of the pit at the same time, and one of Benny's crews very alert and jumped out of the way.
Yeah, you know, it looks close on those deals, but the drivers are professionals, and the crew members know that that's happening. The driver may miss you by a few inches, but he almost always, well, he always will miss you.
So here at North Wilkesboro, the race continues, and we have completed now 283 laps. The race is moving along very quickly because we have had no long caution periods. That has allowed the race to move along quickly and keep the average speed at about 95 miles an hour. Here are the top 10. It is Earnhardt, followed by Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, and Kyle Petty.
You know what a flat old tater chip is, huh? It's like fishing where there ain't no fish. Ooh, but nothing flat about Ruffles potato chips. Ruffles got ridges. That's right. And they taste just as good as having them fish come jumping right in the boat, looking right on your eye and saying, Justin, me, I surrender. I guarantee.
Ruffles brand potato chips. The taste won't leave you flat.
Ooh, I caught the whole bunch. Hey.
Every Ferrari 328 and every Ferrari Testarossa that comes to America comes on Goodyear Eagles. And only on Goodyear Eagles. Why? Because Mr. Ferrari wants it that way. Goodyear Eagles, Ferrari's choice as America's best tires.
Here at the First Union 400, Chevrolet has won the last 4 of 5 races, and a Chevy is in the lead, and a Chevy is running second in this race. Dale Earnhardt, there he is in the lead, and there is the second place Junior Johnson prepared car, driven by Terry Labonte. Ricky Rudd in a Buick is running third, and Rusty Wallace's Pontiac is running fourth, and the Ford of Kyle Petty is in fifth position. Once again, we're seeing these long green periods, and we're going to also, we anticipate, have some green pit stops here coming up. We've already seen Sterling Marlin, for instance, and Neil Bonnet come in for their stop.
Well, it really becomes a time to gamble as a crew chief, especially if you're not the leader. You know, if you're a third, fourth place car, say Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, even Kyle Petty, they've got to decide, are we losing too much time with our tires, or should we stop and get fresh tires, or should we stay out there until we need fuel, then stop and get fuel and gas at the same time? A lot of times it's really a gamble. If you stop and get those fresh tires, you're picking up time on the leader because he's out there with his older tires, but you're taking a risk. If the caution comes out, you could be a lap down real quick. As soon as you stop for tires here, you go 1 lap down, and you get it back when the leader stops, if the leader stops before a caution comes out.
Gary, I'm a little surprised that we've seen a few people come in already. We're about lap 280 that they came in. They should be able to make it, but wouldn't it have been a little more safe to maybe pad this up to about lap 290, then you can go the distance?
Well, Larry, you got to think a guy's got real problems to stop after only 80 laps here. They can go 185 or so with the fuel, but they must have some major chassis problems. They want to get in and get some adjustments made to stop that early under a green flag stretch.
Now, Richard Petty did make a pit stop while we were away on the commercial break. Sterling Marlin had stopped. He came out behind Earnhardt, had passed him, but now they're passing him back as Sterling's tires gets heated up. He doesn't have the speed and the traction that he had when he had the new tires on.
Well, we have seen several of the drivers start on one brand of tire and switch to another, and there are many, many drivers who, of course, have not signed a contract with any tire company and can do that. What are Dale Earnhardt's feelings on Goodyear and Hoosier?
We signed a deal with Goodyear the first season to stay with them all year, and you know, they've got a good tire, and if they have a problem somewhere, they work on it and get it worked out. They've got a lot of technology behind their product and a lot of years of experience. You know, they've been racing on a safe tire for the last several years because they haven't had any competition. And the last couple of races, they show they can build a competitive tire and be competitive. So, you know, we don't think we're going anywhere.
So those are Dale Earnhardt's feelings on the Hoosier and Goodyear war. Let's go to Pit Central and Larry Newber, who has a comment on this situation involving the tire companies that we first saw in Grand National competition and this year in Winston Cup.
Well, Bob, when the season began, the Hoosier tire had a much wider profile. It was a lower tire. You can see now that the height is just about the same. This is the new Goodyear. You can see now here at North Wilkesboro, the Goodyear has the advantage in terms of the width. The tire is about 3/4 of an inch wider, and Morgan Shepherd was telling me that gives the drivers about 4 more inches to work with, and they can do a lot on it. The tire is also brand new technology. I mean completely new, from science and Strassman paper on up, for the first time in 1988. This is a brand new carcass. The Goodyears we've been using up till now, Jeff Bodine called them Band-Aids, but not this. This is the latest in technology you can get, and it seems to be very fast, at least here at North Wilkesboro, and working very well in the race, something that the Goodyear tires have been at a disadvantage of up till now.
All right, thank you, Larry. One of the fastest race cars on the track at the moment is Richard Petty, who came in and changed and got some new Goodyears on that car, and he is just passing everybody.
Yeah, the car's working very well, and you see that here in North Wilkesboro. In fact, Gary, I guess it'll make close to a second a lap difference in your lap speed.
Well, you're right. You lose, the stop Richard Petty made was for 2 tires under green. You'll lose approximately 30 to 32 seconds from where you were on the racetrack. You pull out on the racetrack 32 seconds farther back. That's over a lap behind. So it'll take, if you could get a second a lap on leader, it would only take 32 laps to make up for that lost time. It's hard to do that for 32 laps in a row. You'll get a second a lap for 10, maybe 15 laps, and then it starts dropping off half a second, a quarter a second, then back down to where you were. So it's a gamble, and it's definitely something you look at with the stopwatch. Here's Richard Petty, 21.4 seconds. The leaders are up and around 21.70. Let's see what they do.
Well, that's only about 105 miles an hour, 105.140, so it's considerably slower than, of course, the cars qualified at, but the racetrack is a lot slicker than they qualified at also.
Again, those tires are a lot hotter as well. Earnhardt still leads. We were going to get a lap time on him to see just how fast he is running. He's having to look in his rearview mirror and sees that Budweiser Chevrolet of Terry Labonte there just every lap. Not much difference in those 2 cars. They're pretty evenly matched here today.
Yeah, you know, at this point in the race, with about 100 laps to go, a little less than 197 laps to go, as a matter of fact, it would seem that these two have the race in hand, because they've stayed together all race long, and they put about full straightaway distance between themselves and 3rd place. As to which one of these guys is going to come out on top, well, that's the question that we'll have to answer in 97 more laps.
Boy, they're really racing. Dale Earnhardt looks like his tires are giving up. He's been sliding a lot more recently than he had been earlier. His car is definitely a handful for him to drive. He's going right out to the wall coming on a straightaway. Harry Labonte is putting the pressure on definitely now.
And the next car that Dale Earnhardt will lap, just going through your picture right now, is Phil Parsons, and Phil is running in 6th position. So there are 6 cars on the lead lap at the moment, but Phil Parsons stands to go a lap down here in just a few more laps. We're timing the lap of Dale Earnhardt, and we will compare his time with that of Richard Petty. And it looks as if that Earnhardt is in a little bit cleaner racetrack, as more than Richard Petty was, and he is at 107.142 miles an hour, so his lap was better than Richard's.
That's still a pretty good clip for as long as they've been out there on the tires that they are on now. Now, just to give the fans, when we're talking miles per hour, the qualifying record that Terry Labonte said here was over 117, but the elapsed time on the racetrack was 19.31 seconds. Well, they're running within about a second and a half of what they qualified, and doing that in competition after the racetrack has gotten slick and after they've been out there for about 100 laps on this set of tires, that's still a good speed to be running.
Very good. I'm impressed at how quick Earnhardt is running, and also bringing Terry Labonte right along with him. That was a heck of a good lap for this long into the tires and the fuel.
Well, we saw Phil Parsons go a lap down to Dale Earnhardt. Now Terry Labonte begins to move around him on the outside. Phil having a very good run here today, running in 6th place, but that leaves only 5 cars in the lead lap.
And 309 laps completed in the First Union 400. We'll be back with more live coverage.
This is a car. This is a Big A Pro Auto Repair Shop that uses quality Big A parts to service your car. This is a Big A Auto Parts store where you can buy said parts to work on your car yourself. This is the Big A Road to Savings, during which you can get great deals at this and this for this. And this, one of my vacation slides of my twin brother.
Look for the Big A Road to Savings going on now.
Racing on the water, just you and me. Running wild, running free. Run, 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 Kawasaki.
Jet Ski Watercraft by Kawasaki. The ultimate water pistol.
Fly across the water on a jumping jet. Kawasaki gets the good times wet. Fun, 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 Kawasaki.
See your local Kawasaki dealer today.
Welcome back to the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Winston Cup racing on this Sunday afternoon. We're glad you could join us. Dale Earnhardt is moving through traffic very nicely on the racetrack, putting another lap on Bobby Allison in car number 12. We have a report from Dick Berggren in the pit area. Dr. Dick Berggren.
Well, Bob, some of the competitors are having a bit of a problem with their Hoosier tires. This one just came off the back end of Bobby Hillen's car. Parked next to him is Bouchard. His crew chief said he's had one tire go bad. I went down to Hillen's team and I talked to the car runner, Billy Hagan, and he said a little bit of a problem. Now, that may not necessarily be the tires. It may also be the car setup. But let's keep an eye on these Hoosier tires as the race unfolds.
We should be seeing some pit stops before too much longer, we would guess. Earnhardt continues to set a very torrid pace here. His record at North Wilkesboro, Earnhardt has 18 starts, 2 wins, including this race in '86 and this race last year. He has 10 top 5 finishes and 16 top 10s. A remarkable record for Dale Earnhardt.
But you know, Earnhardt just kind of shot away from Terry Labonte. We had been clocking him earlier before we put it on the screen in the high 21s. When Labonte got behind him, Dale Earnhardt just took off, pulled away. So he might be just comfortable to stay ahead of Terry Labonte and show him his muscle every once in a while.
There's a little bit more racetrack, though, between first and second, as we have seen in the last few laps, as Earnhardt has probably about a 2-second lead now on Terry Labonte. There's Bobby Allison sliding high on the racetrack in turn number 4, permitting Labonte to sneak underneath and pass.
And Ken Bouchard in car number 10 went very high in turn 2. I think he's trying to get to the pits now. He did get the car back down on the inside. He's the top rookie driver so far this year.
Well, you know, most racetracks that Winston Cup cars go to, gasoline is what tells you when to make your pit stop. When you're low on gas or almost out of gas, you make your pit stop. Well, obviously a flat tire would make you want to come into the pits, but under green, if you have, on most other tracks, you will go wait till you're low on gas to stop. At Wilkesboro, it's always a question. Maybe we need those tires. Maybe we should stop even though we have 3/4 or a quarter of a tank of gas. Maybe we should get those new tires on and pick up some time. Let's go to Jerry in the pits for an update.
Well, Dale Earnhardt last pitted on lap 208. Of course, he figured they could run about 140 to 141 laps under green. That would give them about 88 or 89 miles of fuel. Now, by calculating that out, they're going to pit on lap 350. That would give them 50 laps to go. They will not need an entire 2 cans of fuel, probably only 1 can, not even an entire can, will get them to the checkered flag. So Earnhardt pitting about 30 laps from now, around lap 350.
So we will anticipate those stops that could very definitely tell the tale as to who is going to come out on top in this race. And of course, we've mentioned all race long about how important position in the pits are. And with that in mind, here is a track fact. Track facts are brought to you by the Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
Pit positions are important at every racetrack, but none more important than here at North Wilkesboro, where there is limited pit space. We're watching Ken Schrader as he comes out of the pits, and watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars come out in front of him. That means he lost that many positions. It is not uncommon, especially on a short track, to come in leading the race and maybe go back out in 8th, 9th, or 10th position.
Of course, that is tough, the pit stops like that. I've been on the pit crew of teams that have beat everybody out of the pits, and I've been on a pit crew of teams when we come in leading and come out 15th. It is a matter of fractions of seconds.
Much more fun to be on the crew that goes in first and comes out first. Right, Terry. We'll be back with more from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Presenting a superbly engineered high-performance machine. One designed to outperform anything the competition has ever introduced, with exceptional starting power, smooth acceleration, and outstanding fuel efficiency. What do we call this masterpiece of engineering? Bosch Platinum. The ultimate spark plug with the advantages of pure platinum. You've never driven anything like it.
Available at Kmart and other fine auto parts stores.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. The engine in the new Quaker State Porsche Indy car develops 750 horsepower, so it takes an oil this good to protect it. At 11,000 RPM, engine temperatures soar to 800 degrees. Quaker State's advanced QSX formula is proven to run clean for unbeatable protection. And the Quaker State that protects this engine on the track is the same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf. Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
If you're looking for the only sports car in the world that gives you the superior traction of front-wheel drive, a competition suspension, and an unbeatable 770 protection plan, then look no further. It's gotta be the intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby Z.
Now get up to $1,500 cash back on Daytona models in stock.
Barry Dodson crew on the Kodiak Pontiac, driven by Rusty Wallace, has completed a tire change and fuel up, and Rusty Wallace goes back into the race, but he did lose a lap. It doesn't mean very much if the other leaders have to come in under green.
Yeah, it's nail-biting time for Barry and the guys. They are the first of the lead cars to pit. He was about a quarter of a lap behind the leader when he came in to pit. Lost a lap and about a quarter to Dale Earnhardt. So he's going to have to hope for Dale Earnhardt to make his stop before any chance of a yellow coming out.
It was a tremendous pit stop. He was only stopped for a little less than 12 seconds while they changed the two right side tires. Of course, they put in only the amount of fuel that they could get in while they were changing the tires. Normally, it takes longer to fill the tank of fuel than it does to change the tires. Since they don't need that much fuel here, they just said, we'll put in what we can. When that jack goes down, we're hit the road and running. That's exactly what they did. Good pit stop.
So he felt like he needed the tires to gain that extra ground. If no cautions come out, Rusty Wallace should be running quicker than Dale Earnhardt for this next stretch. When Earnhardt makes his pit stop, we'll have to see if that gamble puts Rusty Wallace in the lead when Dale Earnhardt does come out of the pits.
Earnhardt has been able to pass Darrell Waltrip here in the Tide machine, but still Terry Labonte has been unable to pass either Davey Allison or Darrell Waltrip. They are between Earnhardt and Labonte. Lake Speed comes in for a pit stop as we continue to watch the action on the racetrack. Once again, there are 4 cars on the lead lap with Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty, the other two besides Earnhardt and Labonte. A lap down in 5th is Rusty Wallace. 6th place belongs to the number 28 car driven by Davey Allison. Then Richard Petty is in 7th. 8th is Jeff Bodine. 9th is Bill Elliott. And in 10th is Ken Schrader. We're back inside the Dale Jarrett car as Dale Earnhardt is alongside.
And Dale Jarrett goes another lap down to Dale Earnhardt. He just simply couldn't get the chassis working on that car. He's run well, but not nearly as well as Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte.
Yeah, it's in the turns that Dale Jarrett has the problem. He can't quite get the grip in the turns that the other cars are getting. You can see Dale Earnhardt's car slip a little bit as he went through the turn, but he's still leading the race. So now Labonte seems to be gaining on Dale Earnhardt a little bit. Maybe we'll see Earnhardt coming in the pits in the next few laps.
Well, right behind Dale Jarrett comes Terry Labonte, and Dale Jarrett is up the side of Darrell Waltrip trying to get around him, so Labonte doesn't have anywhere to go.
It's kind of boxed in here, and while all of that is happening, Dale Earnhardt has clear racetrack ahead of him. So Earnhardt is getting an advantage right here as Labonte is held up in the slower traffic.
Well, Dale Jarrett did back off. He saw what was coming and let Labonte have the room on the outside and gave him the room he needed to move around.
There are still 4 cars between Earnhardt and Labonte now that Terry is going to have to move through. That number 68 car is driven by Derry Cope. Davey Allison, of course, is there alongside Derry Cope on the high side of the racetrack. Now Labonte disposes of Bobby Hillen Jr. Let's go to the pit area once again.
I'm with Larry McReynolds. He's Ricky Rudd's crew chief. Larry, how long can you go before you need to pit? It'll be about 10 more laps, Dick. I wish we could get a caution where we could get 4 tires on there because we really ain't got the stacker we like for 2 tires, but we're just going to have to live with it. Is the car loose or are you pushing? What is your problem? No, this is the best the car's been all day right now, but like I say, I wish we could get 4 tires on there. Well, these guys have been running around, matching up tires, looking at tires, trying to get just the right set. This would be the last pit stop for them.
Now look at Rusty Wallace. Remember, he's on fresh tires, and those two drivers, Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd, have been running together like that just about all race long now. Rusty is a lap down because of the pit stop, but it's obvious that those tires, new tires, are working for him.
Yeah, he's picked up about a quarter of a lap on Dale Earnhardt, who is leading the race. And, of course, as you saw, just moved around Ricky Rudd. He was about a quarter of a lap behind him when he came out of the pits, although he is a lap down. But the new tires really do make a difference.
So that tells you Rusty Wallace came into pits a quarter of a lap behind Earnhardt. He's made up that ground. If they have equal pit stops, Earnhardt will end up giving the lead to Rusty Wallace.
Now, the only way that will help Rusty Wallace, though, if it goes green the rest of the way, it won't make any difference, Gary. But if there is a caution then after they've made their green flag pit stops, that's where it would help them.
Exactly.
So we anticipate pit stops now somewhere around 10 to 15 laps from right here. It appears as if Dale Earnhardt, however, may be indicating a pit stop next time by. So we're going to stay here. We're going to go to commercial and set up for these pit stops, but Earnhardt may be on his way to the pit right now. We'll watch the car come off of corner number 4. He stays out onto the racetrack, will not come in this time, but the Richard Childress crew is waiting on him. It looks like he's slowing down a little. There's Ken Schrader in car number 25. Look at Dale's signal to the drivers behind him.
Yeah, he's waving to them that he's coming into the pits. We see Dale Jarrett coming up on there, and he just wanted to know that he was coming into the pits. Now let's go to Jerry Punch, who's right there.
Well, the Goodrich crew standing by for Dale Earnhardt. We'll put the watch on the Earnhardt stop. Remember, last year in September, it was a critical stop by Labonte that won the race. And crew going to work on the right side of the car. Kurt Schilberty has the right side, right front tire on. Labonte now, the upper part of the screen, watching Terry Labonte going to turn 3. Earnhardt down and away. Great pit stop. All 12 seconds flat for Earnhardt out of turn 4. Terry Labonte has not even come by yet.
Poetry in motion when you watch the Richard Childress, Kurt Schilberdine crew work on that Dale Earnhardt car. They are good, no question about it.
Well, I'll tell you, they really have turned in some pit work here this afternoon, as they do just about every race. And here now is Terry Labonte, the fellow who had taken over the lead. Let's go back to Jerry Punch.
Well, it's a matter of pride for Tim Brewer and the Budweiser crew now. They got to beat 12 seconds to get their driver a chance to win it, and they're going to hustle right now. Right front tire going up from Brewer. Pete Wright has the jack beneath the car. Mike Hill, the right rear tire. They've added 1 can of fuel, second can of fuel in, down and away, and I tell you, that's awfully close. Here is Earnhardt coming down and running the front stretch. Good pit stop for Terry Labonte.
Ricky Rudd is the leader, and Darrell Waltrip is into the wall in turn number 2. I don't know whether it's going to bring out a caution or not. He just went up and bumped it, almost stopped, but did not, kept the car running, and boy, is that a break for several of the drivers who had not made pit stops.
Yeah, no yellow flag. Boy, close one there. Ricky Rudd inherited the lead when Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte made their pit stop. Now he's still the leader. We're hoping for that caution, but it's not coming. He's going to be making his pit stop soon.
There you can see the right front on the Tide machine with Darrell Waltrip is completely flat. We go back to Jerry Punch.
The Tide Chevrolet comes to a halt. They have to pick the car up to get the jack under it. Finally, they get the jack under the car, and it looks like it'll be a long pit stop for Darrell Waltrip. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berger. Dick?
The leader is in the pits. Ricky Rudd trying to change tires as Earnhardt goes by. This is a 2-tire change. They thought they were going to get 4. They did not. A good pit stop for Rudd.
Yeah, just a fraction over 11 seconds. Boy, I'll tell you, they have really made some good pit stops here. But again, if they don't have to put in a full tank of fuel, Gary, that has reversed itself over the years. It used to be that you could put in the fuel quicker than you could change the tires, but now that's not the case.
And look who's running together on the racetrack once again. After all this, Rudd and Wallace are still right there together.
Yeah, that's equal pit stops. I think Ricky Rudd's car might be a little quicker than Rusty Wallace's. We'll see if he pulls away.
Now, Kyle Petty is in second position. I believe, though, that he has yet to make a pit stop. In any case, Dale Earnhardt is back in the lead. We've got 49 laps to go in this race, so we're set up now for the finish. They'll be able to go the entire distance without a pit stop from here on. Earnhardt is the leader.
I'm a car thief. It's what I do for a living. This business used to be easy because there weren't any effective deterrents. Electronic systems false alarmed, and they didn't slow me down. Cuff-like devices that fit around the ignition, they're easy to defeat. Then there's the cane-like device that connects the brake pedal to the steering wheel. What a joke. I could knock those off with one kick. But now something has stopped me cold. It's called the club. I should have known when the police endorsed it I was in trouble. I couldn't cut it, remove it, or steer the car with it on. Now, if I see one in a car, I just pass it up. If enough people buy them, I'll be out of business. The club is built from heavy-duty materials, and it's adjustable to fit any vehicle. Simply attach it to your steering wheel, and the vehicle becomes undrivable. Listen to what police say about the club.
I've never seen a more effective deterrent to auto theft. We were so impressed, the auto squad uses them in their own personal cars.
Don't settle for an imitation. Buy only the club. Available at Sears and better auto supply stores.
It's time to get serious. Battle lines are drawn for the NHL's Cold War. ESPN presents the Stanley Cup Playoffs. All live, all the way to the championship finals as teams take their shots at the defending champion Edmonton Oilers. The showdown heats up. The Stanley Cup Playoffs, right here on ESPN.
Speed World today at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway for Winston Cup racing. And with less than 50 laps to go, it is Dale Earnhardt leading this race with Terry Labonte about full straightaway behind in second. Rusty Wallace running fourth now as Ricky Rudd has been able to go to third. So Rusty is fourth and fifth position. A lap down, Kyle Petty did come in for a pit stop, lost a lap. Kyle is in fifth, 4 cars on the lead lap.
Well, it looks like it's pretty well shaken down now. Earnhardt came in. He was the leader. Some of the guys pitted early trying to gain that ground. Didn't work. Earnhardt stayed out a little longer, made his pit stop, and came out as the leader.
Like Dale sort of has this race in hand, but we still got a long way to go. He's right behind Richard Petty now, who has also fallen off the pace after a good run in the STP Pontiac.
But recently that car has been giving him a fit in the turns. It just hasn't been handling that well. He's slipping and sliding, especially off of turn 4. They're going into turn 3 right now as he moves on the inside of the racetrack to let Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine move by, but you can see him slipping a little bit there as he came off of turn 4.
But what happens, Ned, is on these green flag pit stops, when they have to change 2 tires, sometimes they can't get the stagger right. No matter what the tire combinations they use in the pit area, they lay them out instead of 4 tires. And sometimes when you have to change 2 tires, you just can't predict what those cool right side tires are going to do when they heat up against the hot left side tires. So it's always a struggle in the pit area to get that rear stagger, especially on the rear 2 tires, to get that stagger good enough to get the car as competitive as it was before.
Well, things have settled down now for the time being as Dale Earnhardt continues to lead, and we are about 38 laps from the end of this race. Earnhardt with a little bit of problem coming off of turn 4 there, but so we're going to attempt to get some commercial breaks in here for you. Well, the cars have to maintain some semblance to order, and for that, here's a quick fact. Quick Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
These are the templates that are used to measure every Winston Cup car at every NASCAR track. Now, what NASCAR officials do is they go to the showroom and pick off a brand new, say, 87 Chevrolet Monte Carlo off the showroom floor. They take it to a special shop and they make this metal silhouette of that car. They take it back and they weld the pieces together, and they use this special template at every track. And what they do, they're allowed a 1/4 inch tolerance. But as a car comes through, this 87 Monte Carlo comes through, the NASCAR official has a 1/2 inch block. If it fits beneath the roof of the car and the template, and the roof's been altered, and the car must be fixed before it goes on the racetrack. That's to make sure someone isn't cheating with regard to aerodynamic body style. Now, if someone said, well, that's just not an 88 Pontiac, it can't be a template. They take the showroom car serial number and put it right on the template. So you go back and you find that car with this serial number, and you'll say, well, it fits perfectly. It is indeed an 88 Pontiac silhouette. So templates, a must for inspection here on Winston Cup Racing.
Well, that may be the way they have to look going into the race, but when you complete one like here at North Wilkesboro with all the bumping and banging that goes on, they don't perhaps adhere to that template quite as much as they do before the race. 367 down, right back in a moment.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. The engine in the new Quaker State Porsche IndyCar develops 750 horsepower, so it takes an oil this good to protect it. At 11,000 RPM, engine temperatures soar to 800 degrees. Quaker State's advanced QSX formula is proven to run clean for unbeatable protection. And the Quaker State that protects this engine on the track is the same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf. Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Man has always been fascinated with speed. But in a sport where there is no margin for error, winning is more than a quest for speed. It's a measure of skill, a test of guts. And though NASCAR has changed through the decades, its spirit still rests on what men who race have always known. It's not just the machine, it's the man who drives it. We're proud to be part of this great sport. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Dodge Shadow ES. When you look at its 60 standard features, its turbocharged engine, its 770 protection plan, when you consider the fact that the Shadow ES is a better value, almost $700 less than the Chevy Cavalier C24, you'll agree, when it comes to outstanding value, it's gotta be a Dodge.
And with $500 cash back, you've now got an even better value.
Back at North Wilkesboro, the First Union 400, Dale Earnhardt has the lead over Terry Labonte, and there are a couple of people we would like to say hi to. First of all, Richard Donlevy, who is Junie's son, the owner of car number 90, driven by Benny Parsons. Richard recovering at home from a broken back suffered in a traffic accident, so the best to you. And a couple of race fans from Terre Haute, Indiana, Dave and Sally Ross, were married yesterday, and the best to you, too.
And let's also say hello to Darrell Derringer, who won in one of Junior Johnston's cars here. In fact, it was the first race that was won when Junior became a car owner. You mentioned that he had won 17. Well, Darrell Derringer led, sat on the pole, and led every lap. That was back in 1967 here. Of course, Darrell suffering from cancer. Hope him the best.
And let's go now to Dick Berggren.
Well, this is the fourth turn area. When the race started, it was absolutely smooth. But as you can see, the cars are now going through a groove that is anything but smooth. It's a little bit of torn-up racetrack and a whole lot of rubber down here. Whatever you were set up for at the beginning of the race, it is much, much different as the race winds down.
Well, Dave Marcus got out of the groove and slid out toward the wall in turn number 4. He brushed along the wall all the way down the straightaway and now is going very slowly through turn number 2. Will he make it to the pit area?
Well, I don't know. He still has momentum. Now the other cars have gone by, so he should get in. But he did hit the wall up on turn 4. Apparently he blew a tire or got up in the loose stuff, as they say, and that's the rubber and the grit and grime that would be up on the outside of the racetrack. But he is going to make it back into the pits without a caution coming in.
Well, that shot that Dick was showing us up turn 4, I've been watching the drivers. They try to either go outside of that rough area or inside of that rough area. Some of them, even Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty, I've seen up on the curve along the apron of the track, trying to miss that rough spot on the racetrack. Dave Marcus obviously was trying to go around the outside of it and got a little too high.
Dick Berggren is there in the Marcus pit.
Yeah, just as we were talking about that turn, Marcus did get up in the loose stuff, took him right out to the wall. He's got tire marks from somebody else's car on the left side. The tires on the left side have all, let's see, red, yellow, blue, white. A lot of contact here, and they're having trouble with the right front. Obviously, Marcus is not having a good time at the moment.
And Mark Martin got into the wall at just about the same location as Dave Marcus. I don't think Mark hit it quite as hard as Dave did, but he still got up in the loose stuff there in turn 4. Continues to maintain the momentum, though.
Yeah, that's a bad section on the racetrack. It's been built up with rubber and debris. The drivers some straddle it and they really get out of shape. Some go around the outside of it. Some go on the inside of it.
There's the second place car of Terry Labonte, but he is about a half a straightaway behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt, and he has got his work cut out for him because we've only got 20 more laps to go. The Richard Childress-led crew of Dale Earnhardt looks on. Will their driver be in victory lane at 20 laps? Well, we'll tell you after this.
To fathers about the Kodak Color Watch system.
A true test of dadhood. You've been entrusted with precious rolls of Kodak film. The family is counting on old Dad to get great developing, so you look for the Kodak Color Watch seal. Color Watch means great developing. This seal means every picture is printed on Kodak paper, so your photos will look wonderful, and your son will let you borrow the car. Kodak Color Watch for great developing. You're going to thank me for it.
It's that time again. Deer season. When you can buy a John Deere lawnmower or tractor and get one of 12 other Deere products at no extra charge. Or you can take advantage of great cash discounts, saving you anywhere from $40 to $350. For the name of the participating dealer nearest you, look for this ad in the magazine section of your Sunday newspaper. But you better hurry, because deer season doesn't last. And with deals like these, the deer won't either.
To some, it's routine maintenance. To others, it's an act of love. If you truly appreciate fine machinery, you protect it with Purolator filters.
Dodge Daytona. When you look at its long list of standards, its 770 protection plan, when you consider that Daytona is $346 less than the Ford Mustang LX hatchback, we think you'll agree. When it comes to price and performance, it's gotta be a Dodge. The Dodge Daytona, just $89.95.
Now get up to $1,500 cash back on Daytona models in stock.
We are back in North Wilkesboro, and Dale Earnhardt has a problem. We anticipate that it's left side tires that has gone away, and Terry Labonte is now right on his back bumper. There's Terry moving into the picture. He's going to be able to pass Dale Earnhardt here on the backstretch, we believe. Earnhardt has been slowing down for the last several laps. We anticipated him coming in for a pit stop, but he has not yet. He's battling alongside Terry Labonte and trying to stay in the lead, but no, Labonte goes into the lead.
And the crowd goes wild here in Wilkes County, North Carolina. Of course, it's a very partisan crowd because of Junior Johnson's shop just being 8 miles from here.
Yeah, only 12 more laps to go. Let's go to Cherry Punch.
Richard Childress just told me that Dale called him and says he thinks they have a right rear tire going down on the car. Now, you would expect it to be a left side tire because those cars have been on the car the longest. But Earnhardt says it's the right rear tire going down. He is helpless. Nothing he can do except come in now and change it, and he'd lose a lap or two here in the pit.
It appears as if the Junior Johnson dynasty here at North Wilkesboro is going to continue because his car, driven by Terry Labonte, is now in the lead, and the fans love it with just 10 laps to go.
Boy, it's hard to imagine Dale Earnhardt having a slow leak in a right rear tire. It's got to be a left side tire, I would think.
It looks like that Ricky Rudd, who is running in third position, may be able to battle Dale for second. There is Rudd now on the extreme right side of your picture behind Richard Petty's car. He has only that much racetrack to make up, and Rudd will have a second place. So we are set up here for a thrilling finish as Dale Earnhardt has a problem with tires, and Terry Labonte may pull out another victory for Junior Johnson. Only 9 laps to go.
Boy, tough break for Earnhardt. He was just kind of coasting up there in the lead, and all of a sudden, 15 laps to go, he starts slowing down.
And again, we've talked so much in the past about how things went so well for Dale last year, and they haven't been going as well for him this year. It's nothing that Dale Earnhardt has or hasn't done. He just isn't getting the breaks like he did last year. And now Rudd is right behind him, trying to take over second position. We'll watch the battle for second here as Terry Labonte is in the lead. Ricky Rudd in the green car, number 26, looking for second position. Dave Marcus to the inside of Dale Earnhardt and Rudd. Now Rudd will look high going through turns number 3 and 4. Remember, turn 4 is very slick with some rubber buildup off of corner number 4, and Rudd has second position.
Earnhardt gave him the running room that he needed. That was a very gentlemanly thing for him to do. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to hold him off for the rest of the race. He also knows there are only 3 cars in the lead lap, and so he said, why do I need to take an extra chance here? He's running faster than me. He's going to get by me. Go ahead and let him move on by, and let's see if I can ride this thing out these last 5 laps and get me at least a 3rd place finish.
But one more that we need to think about is Rusty Wallace. He's got a long way to go to catch Earnhardt, but he could take that 3rd place position away from Earnhardt if Earnhardt slows down anymore.
Dale Earnhardt had led 265 laps of this race when the problem occurred that dropped him from 1st to now 3rd position. There is Labonte with just a few more laps to go. He has 3.5 more circuits of this 5/8 mile racetrack here in North Wilkesboro to go, and he'll chalk up a victory.
Darrell Walton, one of the smartest drivers in racing, knows that the cameras are on Terry Labonte, so he says, why don't I get a little camera time here for my sponsor, Tide, as he moves around Terry Labonte.
Labonte's best finish so far this year has been a 4th at Atlanta. He was 5th at Daytona and 9th at Richmond for his top 10 finishes. This will be his 8th Winston Cup win if he can hold on here for just a couple of more laps.
And the last one, of course, came last October, the latter part of September, last fall here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in the Holly Barnes 400.
Boy, it's amazing that Earnhardt, if he has a tire problem, can stay out there that long. It's got to be a left side tire with a very slow leak.
And the white flag comes out for Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte, originally from Corpus Christi, Texas, now from Archdale, North Carolina, is on the last lap of this First Union 400. Down the backstretch, Labonte in the Budweiser Chevrolet, prepared by Junior Johnson, whose place is just down the road. Labonte off of corner number 4. The checkered flag drops, and Terry Labonte wins his 8th Winston Cup race of his career. 2nd place is going to go to Ricky Rudd. There's Earnhardt 3rd and Rusty Wallace 4th, and Earnhardt just beat Wallace to the checkered flag for the 3rd place finish. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, legendary Junior Johnson, you did it again, big guy. Win number 18 here in Wilkesboro. Congratulations.
Thank you. We particularly did. I don't think we'd ever won if Earnhardt hadn't had some sort of trouble, but you know, we stayed with him all day right there at the end, and for some reason he got a little jump on us in the pits coming in or going out one of the two because we had a real good stop. So we just tinkled to win. We saw he had problems.
Now this big guy will make that coveted walk up to victory lane as he goes to all the hometown fans here in the background on their feet celebrating the favorites win here. Terry Labonte and Junior Johnson at Wilkesboro.
Junior Johnson, another win. Terry Labonte, the driver this time. The First Union 400 being brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. When it's got to be right, it's got to be a Dodge. By Purolator, the first name in filters for Pure Oil now and Pure Oil later, it's Purolator. And by Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. We'll go to victory lane and talk to Terry Labonte, the winner of the First Union 400, in just a moment.
It's every cowboy's worst nightmare. And when the worst is over, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Bush.
Does anybody want to start the campfire?
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
When it comes to making great wheels look their best, Eagle One doesn't miss a beat. Eagle One, a complete line of wheel and body care products for those who love cars as much as we do.
Fishing in America, it ain't what it used to be. In fact, the only thing that hasn't changed in 40 years is that Zebco is still America's choice for pros to beginners. From dependable Zebco reels and rods, Pro Staff, and precision-engineered Quantum to tough Motor Guide trolling motors. Thanks to Zebco, fishing is better than ever. Zebco, one of the companies of Brunswick Corporation, sharing the heritage of being #1.
You know what a flat old tater chip is, huh? It's like fishing where there ain't no fish. Ooh, but nothing flat about Ruffles potato chips. Ruffles got ridges. That's right. And they taste just as good as having them fish come jumping right in the boat, looking right on your eye and saying, Justin, me, I surrender. I guarantee.
Ruffles brand potato chips. The taste won't leave you flat.
Ooh, I caught the whole bunch. Hey.
Well, he's not in victory lane. He's at the gas pumps. But nevertheless, here is Dick Bergman with the winner, Terry Labonte.
And, Bob, one of the very first people over to talk to Terry Labonte here was Dale Earnhardt. What did he have to say to you, Terry?
Well, it's kind of funny. I guess it was Friday. We were in the back of his truck, and we were talking about luck and racing. And today he had some tough luck. You know, that was just some bad luck, you know, on his part. And I believe he had me beat. You know, we were catching him just a little bit there, but we didn't have enough time to catch him and get by him. But, you know, we were there when it counted, and maybe that means our luck's changed for us. You know, usually something like that would happen to him, would happen to us, but today it went the other way. So, you know, we're just tickled because the Budweiser Chevy ran super all day, and we were able to, you know, pull it off at the end.
Well, you almost had some tough luck right there at the beginning when you tagged the wall trying to get around Earnhardt. What were your thoughts on you almost collected the wall just as you did last year?
Well, I know it. We were trying to pass a lap car there, and the guy wouldn't, you know, give neither one of us any room, and he's blocking both of us, and I thought I could get him on the outside, and I got in the wall.
Well, Terry Labonte standing here by the gas pumps. He is the winner. Jerry Punch, who have you got?
Well, I've got a man who dominated most of the afternoon, Dale Earnhardt, and Dale climbed out of the car, and the first person he went and shook his hand was Terry Labonte. Quite an act of sportsmanship, Dale. Looked like you had him covered, though.
Well, it was a good race, you know. We got penalized there at the first for NASCAR says for pulling out of line, but didn't pass any cars. But, you know, made us work for it. We came back up, and Richard and the guys kept a good combination on the tires, and good Lord gave us a safe race. So we had pretty much of just a good ride there. But the right rear started going down about 15 laps to go, and I felt it, and I knew there was a tire going down. I didn't want to say nothing. I held it as long as I could, and I told Richard, I said, I got a tire going down. He said, you got to watch us show it. So, you know, we just had to ride it out. Lucky to finish third, and, you know, guys did a good job. We'll get them. Notched a few points, so we'll be all right.
He had a heck of a battle here in the pits between Shelmerdine and Brewer. These guys back and forth. You'd beat them out one time, they'd beat you out again. I mean, a super job on the pits as always, by the Goodrich crew.
Well, that's true. I tell you, you got to thank Kirk and Richard on that one stop. We were in the back. You know, we went to the back with the black flag situation, and they called me in early, and on that first caution, the caution just came out, and they called me in. They got the tires changed and back out before anybody else came in the pits, and we sat in there leading the race, and, you know, we came back from like 13th or something, you know. So the guys worked hard all day, and they beat them in and out all but one stop, and we had a leg nut hung up, and other than that, we had good stops all day.
Dale Earnhardt will not win it at Wilkesboro today, but he is a champion. He climbs out of the car and goes and shakes Terry Labonte's hand, congratulating the winner of the First Union 400.
And we'll certainly see Dale in contention, I'm sure, 2 weeks at Talladega. Our Winner's Circle interview has been brought to you by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. And we'll be back with some post-race comments right after these messages from North Wilkesboro.
Why does the Monte Carlo of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt race on Goodyear Eagles exclusively? Because of the Goodyear Eagle contact patch and how it responds to the track. And why does Chevrolet choose Goodyear Eagle street radials for every new Monte Carlo SS? A major reason is the Goodyear Eagle contact patch, where the car ultimately responds to the road. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Car 1-3 will be 10-7. I'm Joe DeMarcus, and I've been a police officer for 6 years now. I first became interested in law enforcement when I was in the Air Force. After I left the service, I enrolled as a part-time student at Westmoreland County Community College. The instructors were really great. When I went for my certification to become a police officer, I had no problem. In fact, I finished at the top of my class. WCCC really worked for me, and it can work for you too.
Get a better Pontiac deal in Irwin. Hamilton Pontiac. Get a better Buick deal in Irwin. Hamilton Buick. Get a better Mazda deal in Irwin. Hamilton Mazda. Get a better Subaru deal in Irwin. Hamilton Subaru. The best deals are at Mr. Ham's place in Irwin, Hamilton Pontiac Buick Mazda, and Hamilton Subaru. Route 30 in Irwin.
Back at North Wilkesboro, the First Union 400 Winston Cup race has been won by Terry Labonte. Second place went to Dale Earnhardt. Third was Ricky Rudd. Fourth, Rusty Wallace. Here's Jerry.
Well, Rusty gave the Kodiak Pontiac quite a ride. Rusty, that green flag pit stop in one set of tires did you in.
Yeah, it really did. You know, we had a set of tires that just staggered, didn't do right on them. They kind of went away on me. And it just so happened that set of tires was the time that we had to run for a long time on a green flag. And run along in a green flag when we pitted early because we thought we were having bad fuel mileage. And by pitting early in that set of tires, it really put us down. We finished fourth, and you know, that's 2 top 5s right in a row in a couple seconds and stuff. If we can keep that up, we can win this championship, and that's what we're after.
How are you physically? They had to help you out of the car after slamming the wall at Charlotte earlier in the week. You okay?
Nobody had to help me out of the car. You know, I just wrecked at Charlotte and got hurt a little bit right there, but that went away in about 1 day. Had a bad blister from Bristol and got blistered again on top of that blister, so I just can't seem to keep these darn blisters away. But I want to commend the crew for a great job, and Kodiak, AC, Mobile One, all the guys, a great bunch of people. Thank you.
Well, Rusty Wallace, good run finishing fourth. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
I'm with the second place finisher, Ricky Rudd. Best finish with his team so far.
Well, Dick, actually we ran second at Richmond earlier in the year, but this is the first time that we run up front all day long. You know, the Quaker State Buick ran right up there all day. We'd like to have seen it a 500-lap race. We felt like maybe we had a shot at winning. We were set up for a longer race today, but, you know, this is almost like a win to us. The team's really coming together. And, you know, another thing, maybe it's been overlooked today, Goodyear has really done an outstanding job with these tires we had today. I think that's one reason it was such a safe race. Everybody was able to run real fast, and the cars were underneath of all the drivers all day. Really got good traction and didn't have any blister problems. So, you know, I like to say a lot of this goes to Goodyear today, all the competitors.
Good run for Ricky Rudd today. Bob Jenkins?
Rusty Wallace, by virtue of his fourth place finish, is second in Winston Cup points. And coming up in just a few minutes, tennis, as it'll be Sabatini against Navratilova in the finals of the Bosch and Lohm Championship. So we'll be back with some closing comments as the day is over here at North Wilkesboro, and the winner, Terry Labonte.
Trickle, trickle, the drip drop, doing the 7-Up raindrop bop. Splash, splash, don't stop the 7-Up raindrop bop. 'Cause it feels so good, coming down, down, down on the town. Splash, splash, we like this.
Pop about the top and do the raindrop bop.
7-Up feels so good, doing the raindrop drop, drop your bottom now.
If you're looking for the only sports car in the world that gives you the superior traction of front-wheel drive, a competition suspension, and an unbeatable 770 protection plan, then look no further. It's gotta be the intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby Z.
Now get up to $1,500 cash back on Daytona models in stock.
Honey, game's gonna start soon.
I think I'll give the lawn a quick cut.
Good luck.
When you're long on grass and short on time, you need a mower with a Briggs & Stratton engine.
Dad, the pregame show's on!
It'll start quickly and work hard till the job's done.
Sure hope he makes it. Yes, there he is.
Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
To some, it's routine maintenance. To others, it's an act of love. If you truly appreciate fine machinery, you protect it with Purolator filters.
Terry Labonte is in victory lane here at North Wilkesboro, but the points are really shaken up after the finish here this afternoon. Dale Earnhardt maintains the lead, but only by 53 over now Rusty Wallace, who is second in points. Bill Elliott is third. Sterling Marlin, who was second going into this race, falls to fourth, and Neil Bunnett comes out fifth in the Winston Cup points. Let's go to Larry Newber in Pit Central.
Bob, that's a big difference from before this race started. There were like 12 teams that were within 120 points, so Earnhardt looks like he's on another championship drive. Here is the unofficial order of the top 10. Lots of familiar names: Labonte, Rudd, Earnhardt, Wallace, Kyle Petty, Richard Petty, Davey Allison, Jeff Bodine, and Elliott. I've indented Phil Parsons here because he is the only one among the top 10 finishers who does not have a career win. That is a dramatic difference from what we've seen so far in Winston Cup racing. Teams on Hoosier tires? None today here at North Wilkesboro.
And one other point I think we have to make is the attrition rate here, Ned. Only 3 cars dropped out of this race.
I can't remember a race, Bob, where there were just 3 cars that dropped out of a race. 400 laps on a demanding track like North Wilkesboro here. It's a tribute to the mechanics who put these cars together and a tribute to the drivers who drove them around here all afternoon on a very slick racetrack, and just 3 of them sitting in the pits at the end of the race.
Well, it's, you know, you guys, the thing that really amazes me about this race is the things that Earnhardt has had to overcome. Being black flag, going to the back, then all of a sudden he's the leader after a gamble in the pits. Then when 15 laps to go, he started slowing down. Any driver with a right rear tire going down is usually right in the pits right away. That is the primary tire on a race car, especially on a short track, that right rear. Earnhardt hung out there for 15 laps with that tire going down. That's why we speculated that it was a left rear, because I don't think there's any other driver that would stay out there that long with that kind of a problem.
Well, let's talk about our next Winston Cup race. 2 weeks from today at Talladega, Alabama. We'll be live at 2 o'clock Eastern Time for the Winston 500 on the world's fastest racetrack. Coming up next here on ESPN, it'll be Sabatini against Navratilova. The women's final in the Bosch and Loam Championship. That'll be coming up live from Florida. Well, it's been an exciting afternoon of racing here at North Wilkesboro. Once again, Terry Labonte wins this race after Dale Earnhardt suffered some tire problems with less than 20 laps to go. It's Terry Labonte's first win of the 1988 Winston Cup season. Our congratulations to him and to all the competitors in today's race. We'll see you on Speed Week at 7:30 on Thursday night, and we'll see you 2 weeks from today at Talladega. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.